Hey there. I'm a farm parent. Many of you watching this are farm parents. And again, what do you really want for the next chapter of your life? This was the question on the hearts and minds of many young farmers. So here are 3 of the key questions I want you to ask yourself today. What do you truly want for the next chapter of your life on the farm? And many people haven't really sat down to think about it or talk about it. So that's something you need to start thinking about now. The next question, why is this such a hard topic to communicate with your family? Well, because maybe what's true here is that mom and dad don't agree on what they want. And I have often said in many farm seminars is when the vision of the spouses is disconnected, then your succession plan is really stuck and you're not going anywhere. So it's really, really important to get clear on what you both want as farm spouses and start negotiating and coming to some kind of consensus and common interest about how you're going to move forward. And then the next question is when, by when, which is a magical question in terms of timelines, by when are you going to make your lifestyle desires and your business vision known to the next generation? So here's one of the texts that I got from a young farmer in Iowa. Elaine, what are the best ways to deal with off-farm siblings that haven't shown an interest in the past or put any work into the operation? But all of a sudden they want a piece of the pie. And I said, have a coaching session with third-party facilitation and keep it safe and respectful. Many folks want their family to get along, of course, and to have a profitable farm and not break off land to non-farm heirs. And you also have to navigate what the expectations are of everybody in the family. So one of the key phrases that we use in coaching is, where is it written? So where is it written that all adult children need to get land? And I work with a group called 337.ca who uses a tool to cascade and have farm financial liquidity to the non-farming heirs as well as to the farming heirs. And you may want to reach out and ask about that. And you may also want to ask your accountant about other lease agreements that people use to actually give land to non-farming heirs in some situations. But there's always a long-term lease agreement to the farming child. And then there's also a right of first refusal. But apparently, as we all know, the land will get more and more expensive, and many siblings do not want to be in business with their non-farm siblings. So the farm liquidity solution is something that you can talk to me about and go and check out the number 33, writtenword7.ca. The other thing that folks want to think about is remarriage. What if there's one of you is already divorced or widowed? There's a great fear of divorce and more hands expecting wealth. So the text that came in for this one is, what happens when you have an uncle who remarried and wants all his new kids to get all the family legacy? And that's where you need to go back to my insight that I wrote on interspousal agreements and marriage contracts and figure out what you want to do that, because no one wants divorce, and divorce on farms, as we know, happens, and it's a huge source of ongoing conflict and pain. And so what are we trying to do to protect our marriages so that we don't get divorced? And what are you doing to have open, honest communication and a really good operating agreement and shareholder agreement with your business partners? So that's all about risk management in that department. Another point about understanding what you really want is asking your parents, what is the story they're telling themselves? Because my parents, my father particularly, had a real scarcity mentality. He was happy to live on his pension, which is only $18,500 a year, and he expected his kids to help him out with holidays and new cards and the occasional new refrigerator or whatever. And my mom didn't live very long to figure out what she wanted, because she passed away of an asthma attack when she was 65. But Brené Brown has an amazing saying called being clear is kind. And so you might have to have some hard conversations, but you can be clear and you can be direct. And you also need to remember what my t-shirt says, love does not read minds. So don't make assumptions. And things change as we age. And maybe something has happened. There's been a life-altering incident where someone thought they were going in one direction and now they're going in another direction. So another helpful saying is that was then and this is now. And so you might want to ask grandmother or mom, I'm just curious, what's the story you're telling yourself? Is this a scarcity mindset issue that you're not going to have enough, so you have to hang on to all these things rather than letting the wealth cascade down to the next generation while everyone can give gifts with a warm hand? And how much is enough? And would you ask for the help of a financial planner to give you more financial security and more certainty for your income streams as you age in place on this farm? And I'm a big believer in using good advisors and especially financial planners to help, especially people who have scarcity mindset, to know that they have enough as they age in place on the farm. And then we have very large families as well. And the question in the text was, how much money do we need to make sure mom and dad are getting a good income every year? And how do you have a civil conversation when you have 13 immediate family members? That's a whackload of expectations to manage. And so the best way to deal with complexity is to break things down and to start with each couple or family unit and then work towards the goal of having a family meeting to get clarity of expectations, certainty of timelines, agreements, and then a commitment, of course, to ask. So here's what the What I Want template talks about that we can provide to you. What do you need to know? And what do you know now? And what do you want? But what do you not want? And what do we agree on? And what could I live with or seek to get a win-win solution? And what is the worst that could happen if? And how can I prevent the transition from going wrong? Or how can we get more alignment of expectations? And I would just interject there. You can protect a transition from going wrong by having open communication. And if you can't do de-escalated conflict tension yourself, then get a coach to help you and someone to help host that for you. What is the best could happen if we reached out for help, shared honestly, and created solutions together? There's lots of good things that can happen. I thought I was moving in 2020. I really wanted to stay in my yard where the landscaping was and the garden and being close to grandchildren. And all of a sudden, my daughter-in-law came out and said, Mom, I'd really like to have the new house and build it. And I said, great. So I didn't have to move in 2020. And my son and daughter live right next door with 3 amazing grandchildren. And I got to stay put. But what I want for the next future chapter of my life is I want good health, because Ralph Waldo Emerson said, your health is your wealth. So I'll keep working on that. And I want to have a good marriage and cherish my marriage to Wes. And so we talk often about what season we're in. And Dr. Gary Chapman has written a book called The 4 Seasons of Marriage. If you want to check it out, I got my copy on Audible and listen to it while I'm driving to seminars. It's what we want to pay attention to. So my question is, what is it you truly want for the next chapter of your life on the farm? And what are you paying attention to? We'll see you next time.